Hey, what's up, world, and welcome to the 125th edition of the Take One podcast. I am your host, August C. Jones, and so this episode is really just going to be I guess you could say, Marvel-centric episode. I wasn't trying to make it all about the Avengers, but some recent stuff just came up, and I just gotta talk about it. But it's not all gonna be about the Avengers stuff because I've talked about that a lot lately within the past few episodes of the podcast and whatnot. But I'm gonna talk about a little bit about a character that is in the MCU, which is Captain Marvel, getting to the box office and stuff. And I had some other stuff that I wanted to touch on, but I think I'm gonna do some quick takes on those. I don't know if I'm gonna drop it out today, but may drop it out tomorrow. I don't know. I'm real busy right now, so that's the reason why I'm trying to hurry up and push this podcast out. But in any case, let's jump right into movie news. And so we're going to talk about Captain Marvel. So Captain Marvel, because of all of the stuff that has been happening with the Avengers, the trailers, the tickets, and everything else, everybody just kind of forgotten about Captain Marvel. And I know a lot of people just don't care, whatever, but Captain Marvel quietly creeped over the billion-dollar, line. It's in the billion-dollar club now. And that was one thing that I knew it was going to do. I didn't know that it was going to do the numbers this opening weekend that it did, but as soon as I knew that it hit the numbers that it did, I think it was like 455 or something like that, like worldwide, and it was like 153 domestically over the first weekend. I knew that it was going to touch $1 billion. Like, it wasn't going to just not touch it. It was going to touch it. If it reached it barely, I would be like surprised. But yeah, so Captain Marvel is in the $1 billion club now. And this just shows that, like, not only Marvel is continuously doing their thing, but it shows that a female-led superhero movie can do gangbusters. I mean, we already got that with Wonder Woman because of just the response from it, from just being like the first Wonder Woman movie and the first, money-making, like, female-led movie. Because when you look at the other female-led movies, yeah, Wonder Woman did good. And then on top of that, not only was it financially successful, but it was critically and the audience liked it, all successful. And then on top of that, like, everybody wanted a part two. Patty Jenkins on doing the part two. She's shooting the part two right now and doing everything for that for next year and everything. So it just shows that we have progressed and stuff like that. And then Captain Marvel is just the next one on line to show that, like, a female-led superhero movie can do over $1 billion. And this is the first female-led superhero movie, solo superhero movie, to do over $1 billion. So Congrats. And you can kind of get that because we're coming off the heels of Aquaman, which was out of the DCEU or the BVSU, which I like to call it, did over $1 billion, which a lot, like, Batman v Superman couldn't even do it, and Justice League couldn't do it, so with it being the sixth movie within the DC movies that are out, I think people were on the high off of that. It was like, okay, Aquaman was great. Let's see what Captain Marvel's about. And then the controversy helped it. So, it's a wonderful thing to see this, because I don't look at it as like a woman empowerment movie. People can look at it like that. I look at it as like it was a good movie. It was an average MCU film, but I enjoyed it. I saw it 3 times in theaters, and I don't mind it. It was a good MCU film. I may be in the minority, but hey, I really liked it, and I'm glad that it did make it in the $1 billion club, because it just shows that, like, this superhero fatigue isn't going to end anytime soon. But yeah, that's really all to say really about it. It opens the floodgates for more minority type movies, whether it's like a female led superhero movie or just a minority, like Black Panther reached $1 billion. That was one of the movies that just showed that it can hit $1 billion, it being a black superhero, a black male led superhero movie. And then we coming out with Shang-Chi or whatever coming out. So it's making the future bright for both DC and Marvel. And so the other thing that I want to get into movie news is that recently, I wasn't going to put this part of trailer reviews because it was a video clip, but this new scene dropped from Avengers in Endgame or whatnot, And it was a scene that they showed at CinemaCon, but they showed a little bit more of it from the descriptions that I had read and heard from what people had seen. But it's essentially the same footage. It just left a scene after the end of it out. And so it basically, I watched it several times. And I love it. You know, I'm trying not to get too excited for this movie because I am truly excited to see this movie. And basically in the scene, it just, they're making the plan. The Avengers are making a plan to go get Thanos. And it's not all the Avengers. Tony and Nebula, well, Tony isn't around, but you do have Thor, Nat, Cap, Banner, you got War Machine there, and then you got Captain Marvel there, and they're all trying to figure out how to get Thanos. And so they're like, Captain Marvel is like I'll go get him, and then what is it, Rhodey? He was like, okay, new girl, like everyone in this room is about that superhero life. Where have you been, the past years? And she just responded with basically the questions that everybody has been asking. Like, if Captain Marvel was introduced in the early 90s, how come she didn't help during, Earth's invasion and blah, blah, blah. And then it was like, she simply answered that, like, all these other, like, she was out there defending the universe. Like, a lot of these other worlds wasn't fortunate enough to have Avengers, and so they're basically just agreeing that they're going to go get Thanos because, and the thing is, it shows that he's used the Infinity Gauntlet because they felt a power surge, or they I don't know what machine they used, but it sensed the power surge, so they know that he's used the Infinity Gauntlet again. And I know we've been told before that the Infinity Gauntlet is destroyed or damaged, permanently damaged, but we don't know how damaged it is, because it could be damaged to where it's like you can't do another snap or anything like that. You can still use a little bit of power, but it's still kind of defunct. So that's probably what they're in right now. Well, that's probably what Thanos is in right now. It's just he can use a little bit of it, but it's not working like it used to. It's not up to snuff. He needs to get an update. And so basically, she was like, Banner, what is it? Banner was like, we're gonna go, what makes you think that this won't end up the same way? And then she was like, well, you didn't have me, so, and just how the scene progressed, I liked it. It was something. I just can't wait to see the beginning and what's at the beginning of this scene and what's after, and like if they actually do go to Thanos and what happens, because from just the theories that go out, it's just saying that they're gonna get their ass whooped. And so Nat and Cap agrees with them, agrees with her, and then that's when Thor calls over Stormbreaker and says that I like this one. And then Cap was like, let's go get this son of a bitch. And I'm pretty sure, hopefully somebody said language. Yeah. But I don't think so. I mean, that scene seemed too serious. But I just want somebody. Matter of fact, I think I'm gonna do it. I swear I'm gonna do it. Yep, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Because I know the theater gonna be quiet. As soon as he said, let's go get this son of a bitch, I'm like, language. I swear I'm gonna do it. The Marvel fans will get it. But I did like the clip. I liked the clip a lot. I watched it, like I said, several times. I even watched it again today. And there was a new scene, a new TV spot that I seen today where it got Iron Man and Captain Marvel like on Earth flying around, and it's just like a little 2-3 second scene where like you see two people up in the forefront, and then you see Iron Man and Captain Marvel flying around shooting that out of a screen, whatever it is, and then you see some explosions in the background, and it's kind of basically like these people are walking around toward the camera and they don't know what's going on, but you see Iron Man and Captain Marvel flying around shooting at things and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, okay, so I don't know, it's just a lot of theories with this movie, with them going back to the fight in New York. It just I don't want to overthink this. I really don't. I just want to see the movie. I'm ready. But to get off of that and get right onto a related subject, so Kevin Feige had recently came out and basically gave his thoughts about Endgame and just the runtime and everything else, and he warns people that when you're going to go see this movie has no downtime, it has no lame scene or anything like that. and this is from, the people that make the movie, so you can have them say that. I can say that about my podcast, like, oh, you're gonna love every single second of it. There's no downpour. I can say whatever, everything under the sun. But so he says that there's no lane points, there's no down points, that it's all basically like you're gonna need to stay in your seat and watch it. No bathroom breaks. There's not going to be any intermissions. And he basically just said that because a lot of people were just saying, like, maybe, should we have an intermission for this movie so people can go use the bathroom, like 5-10 minutes or something like that, get back to the movie. He says that, like, there's no intermissions for this movie, that they're not going to, that they haven't, like, gotten together with the movie theaters to try and, like, do something like that, that it's not going to happen. The only way you would get an intermission in this movie is when it comes out on DVD or you stream it and you can pause it and go, do your thing. But if you going to go see this, you better stay in your seat the whole time because you're going to miss something vital. And that just, it kind of sucks for me because I love my cherry Coke, especially AMC, or, just any like movie theater that has the freestyle. I like to do like a different concoction like cherry Coke, cherry Coke, Coke Orange, and then I do some of the slushy flavors, and oh my god, it's so good. But I like to do that, and I just know that I can't do that now, because I don't want to get up and leave. It's a 3-hour movie. I don't want to miss any type of scene for it. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to see it at the, after that. But in any case, he says that, like, you better take your bathroom breaks because you're not gonna want to miss it. And like I said, take it with a grain of salt because this is the guy who is producing the film. The guy who has a heavy hand in all of these films, who strategically moving pieces and working with the filmmakers, saying that, like, we need to have these connecting, this connecting, this is good, that ain't good. And he basically said that, also that, he's a fan of, or just the people, he just says we, as in like the filmmakers and everything else, I'm guessing talking about Marvel Studios, are fans of, like, movies, being good to the point where you don't want to see them end. That's why the whole runtime was kind of like, do we keep it, do we cut it down, or do we keep it at 3 hours or whatever? But he says it's going to be the length that it needs to be to tell the story. And I dig that, and that's basically just all the way said. Like, we're a fan of, like, not giving you too much, because he feels like, it seems like Kevin Feige, in a good way, is a perfectionist. He wants to make a good movie, but he doesn't want people to feel like it's too much. If he feels like it's too much, cuts it down. If he feels like it's too little, like there could be more, he's going to add more. He's going to make it the perfect length what it needs to be to tell the story. And I dig that. I dig it. And I hope that Endgame is that way, that we get that sense of, yeah, this movie needed to be 3 hours because this story needed to be told. This subplot needed to be in the movie to help the bigger plot. This needed to, I hope that we come out of there and just be like, yeah, every single thing needed to be it. Because certain movies, certain big movies, BVS just right off the top of the head had like subplots that, just did not work in the movie, and that you could have took it out to make it a better movie. So a lot of films, a subplot that's useless can basically devalue the movie, especially if it's a really good movie. But I'm digging it. I'm I'm just glad that it is at 3 hours, a little bit over 3 hours or whatever. But hey, I just can't wait to see it. I know I'm definitely gonna have to take my piss break before I go into the show, and I don't know about my drink. I just don't know. I probably might just not. I think I might drink in moderation. I don't know. But in any case, let me not ramble. And so another thing about Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige came out yesterday, I believe. And there was an interview with Red on Collider where he was talking about the future of the MCU as far as X-Men and Fantastic Four and where it fit in. So basically I had this thing was that, even before this interview, was that they've already mapped out all this stuff. They already have several courses that they can take to where, I'm kind of sick. If you can't tell right ever. But, I want to believe that they have something in place to where it's like, if they have it in their mind, like if X-Men were to join the MCU, we were to get the rights back, then we can do this with them, blah, blah, blah. And same with Fantastic Four, or any other like characters or whatever. And the thing is, I've already said it before, that the MCU don't need the X-Men. They don't need Fantastic Four. They don't need anybody else. The licensed characters that they do have, I mean, now they have more, but before the acquisition, just the characters that they did have, they can make stars out of them. Like, a lot of people didn't care about Black Panther. Didn't know who Black Panther was, or was very vague on just the character. Now everybody up on him. The same with Iron Man, Thor, Captain America. Unless you was a big comic book movie, but to the movie going, like, the general audience, just the regular movie goers, they didn't know anything about these characters. Guardians of the Galaxy, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man. And so if they can take characters like that and put them on the big screen and make people care about them to where they want to see the movies. Black Widow was a character in the beginning where a lot of people didn't care about until after the first Avengers movie. Yes, and then every other movie after that is just kept going to where it's like they were caring about her to where she's getting, or it's not confirmed, but more than likely she's going to get her solo film because it's something that Kevin Feige wanted to have happen. So, I mean, yeah, they don't need it. But in any case, let me not ramble. Going into like Kevin Feige's comments is that he basically said that they have during the acquisition, they wasn't able to use X-Men, Fantastic Four, or anybody else from that Fox head or whatever. So they had to come up with a 5-year plan. They had to, and even just in everything working itself out, them waiting for the plan, the deal to, be finalized and stuff. They still couldn't make, go into production and stuff like that. And he made it seem like they didn't have anything. Like they didn't even start writing ideas, spitballing or anything, which I kind of tend to believe that maybe that's a little fib just to make it seem, because it's a lot of things, a lot of logistics when it comes to business that probably went into it to where if he said that they were spitballing and coming up with ideas, that probably could do something within them, making an acquisition of Fox. And it's to get away from that into a safe zone to where they can safely speak about it. Basically, okay, when in doubt, throw it out, So basically just say that, we don't have any plans for them. We have a 5-year plan with the characters that we had before, that we did have license to. And now with the X-Men and Fantastic Four coming in, it's like, okay, we're going to work on those after that. But now it's like, well, all the way up until now and all this stuff, we didn't have a plan that included the X-Men, which I think he was just trying to play it safe. And there's nothing wrong with that. I get the whole thing. You don't want anything to jeopardize, them, maybe even calling into question the acquisition and then, just whatever. Because they got a lot riding on this. They have a lot riding on this, especially with the Disney Plus streaming service coming on. Yeah, they have a lot riding. So they don't want anything to jeopardize that. And if something as small as that can jeopardize it, they might as well do it. But he basically said that if they do get put into there, that it's not going to be until a few years later. It's not going to be as soon as next year, maybe not the next year, a year after that, or 2021 or whatever. It's probably going to be 2023, 2024, between 2023 and 2025 or something like that. But we're not going to see it anytime soon. But hey, plans have changed. Spider-Man Homecoming wasn't originally in the slate, and then they ended up changing that and putting it up in there. Inhumans were originally in the slate. They took it out, and changed stuff around. So I mean, it's not hard for them to adjust a plan that they've had for 5 years and do this. I mean, more than likely it's a whole bunch of people with good ideas spitballing. So I don't think it's too hard to do that. But hopefully we do get a semblance of something. And if they do put the X-Men into the MCU, I'm kind of curious to how they're going to do it, because there's a lot of logistics that go into there that I think that it's going to make it hard. But hey, I mean, I just want to see how they do it. Hopefully they do it really good. But yeah, so we won't be seeing X-Men, Fantastic Four, or any other Marvel Fox properties that they just got back in the MCU anytime soon. So I mean, it's sad to say, but we're gonna go see them eventually, just not next year or whatever. But let's jump out of that and jump right into the box office segment. And so I'm gonna get into basically, if you don't know how to do the box office, simply what I do is that I run down last week's predictions, which I had for what would win the weekend, and then talk about the movies that did actually win the weekend, the upcoming movies, as well as my weekend predictions for this coming weekend as far as movies. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So last week's predictions were Shazam was going to be number 1, Pet Sematary number 2, Dumbo number 3, The Best of Us, The Best of Enemies number 4, and Us at number 5. I was close. I was real close. But no cigar. So Shazam did come in at number 1 with over the weekend pulling in 53.4 million, which you already talked about it before. It's in the $1 billion club. And then number 2 is Pet Sematary with over the weekend taking in 25 million. And then we have Dumbo over the weekend taking in 18.2 million. Us at number 4 with 13.8 million, and Captain Marvel rounding up the top 5 with 12.6 million. And The Best of Enemies I thought would be higher on the list because it has a name like Taraji P. Henson, and then you got Sam Rockwell in there, who is actually a good actor as well. And I thought it would get a lot of like people in seats, but obviously, I mean, it's not too far away from there, but it did take in over the weekend 4.5 million. What stands out? I already kind of like talked about it. Captain Marvel, is doing like over $1 billion, so I can't really talk about that anymore. But Us, I thought it was going to get knocked down, but it didn't. It stayed at number 4, which is not too far from where I predicted it at. But The Best of Enemies, like I said, I thought that would be at, within the top 5. But, hey, I mean, we're all wrong a lot of times, But, hey, maybe this coming weekend I get it right down packed to the T, where I got 1 through 5 right, and then, that's it. I'm crushing it. So, I mean, and that's really all I got to say about the top 5 or whatnot. So, coming this week, so we got 3 movies coming out this week, and they're kind of like vastly different movies for different, demographics or whatever. So, first we got the reboot of Hellboy, and yeah, I don't know. I do want to see it, but I don't know if I'm going to like it as the original, but I'm going to give it a chance. And then also we got the movie Little, and then we got Missing Link. So, priorities. My priority is going to be Hellboy. I'm going to go try to see that Thursday. Hopefully my tiredness from working a lot of hours this week won't stop me from doing it. I'm planning on seeing it in IMAX, and I feel like that will probably be really good. Little, I know I'm probably going to check that out maybe Sunday, because Missing Link, I'm more than likely going to take my son either Friday or Saturday to go see that. So, yeah, that's a movie that I know my son really wants to see, so I'm going to go take him to go see it. Whether I like it or not, I mean, if he likes it, I love it, And, yeah, so, I mean, I'm willing to check them out, and it's whatever he likes, whatever. So, my weekend predictions for this coming weekend is that Shazam going to stay at number 1. I think Hellboy is going to come in at number 2. I would be surprised if it didn't. I'll be surprised. And not meaning that it's going to come in at number 1. I'll be surprised if it came in at number like 3 or 4. Missing Link, I feel is going to come in at number 3. Pet Sematary is going to get bumped down to number 4. And Dumbo is going to finish off at number 5. And that's my weekend predictions. So jumping out of that, we're going to jump right into what's new to rent on the stream. And just talk about these movies real quickly. I ain't going to talk about them. I'm just list them or whatever. And just end off this podcast. So the first movie that came out to rent on the stream this week is A Dog's Way Home, which I do have a review on my channel, so you can go check it out. It's in the movie reviews section if you go into the playlist, movie reviews, or it's like in the T1 segment reviews. I forgot what I named it, but just go into movie reviews. You'll see it. Holmes and Watson, I got a review for that movie. Yeah, you go check it in the movie review section. On the Basis of Sex also comes out, and Welcome Tomorrow, in which both of those movies I don't have reviews for, but I did actually enjoy both of them. I do recommend you checking them out. I know Welcome Tomorrow didn't do so well in the theater. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I really enjoyed it. I really did. So, I mean, all 3 out of 4 of these movies are worth checking out. Holmes and Watson, don't waste your time. Even if you're a big fan of Will Ferrell, just don't waste your time, please. Just don't. You will be sadly disappointed. It's no Step Brothers. Trust me. There's no Step Brothers, no Anchorman, no Talladega Nights. Just stay away from it. It's just not that. It just tries so hard to be funny, and it's just not. But A Dog's Way Home was I was pleasantly surprised, but I really did like that movie. Yeah, and Bases of Sex and Welcome to Marvin. Definitely go check those out. Whether you're going to rent it, own, or stream it, whatever you want to do what you do. And so with that said, that ends this episode of the Take One Podcast. And I'd like to thank you guys for listening. I'm going to do some quick takes. I don't know. I'm probably going to try to do one today, like I said, because I want to talk about the new Hellboy trailer before the Hellboy movie comes out. And I think there's like one other thing I need to talk. Yeah, it's like one or two other things I need to talk about. So, and also, if you're not following me on Facebook, it is facebook.com/CMJWorld1. And I do a weekly show on there called New This Week. And I just talk about the movies that are coming out this weekend to the box office, as well as the movies that are coming out to rent, own, and stream. So check that one out. I get more into depth about them and whatnot. And so, with that said, yeah, that's about it. I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace out. Hey, before you guys leave, make sure you hit that like button as well as that subscribe button. And you see that little bell? Make sure you hit that to turn on your notifications. That way you'll be notified for anything that appears on my channel. Hope to see you guys next time. Peace out.